Good evening, everybody. It's Haz with my funky fucking hair, complete fucking mess. Anyway, so I just wanted to do a very short video, and it's to address the win of Zohran Mamdani yesterday in New York. I think it has pleased me no end, first of all, that he won. And I think he won his election on the day that he turned around and said, I stand for New Yorkers, I'm not here to go to Israel. And what I want to say is, if he is able to win in the most heavily populated Jewish city in America and to get the vote of Jewish people, that says a lot about what's going on in America at the moment. The rejection of Israel, the rejection of all of the money men that poured, 50, 60 million, the billionaire class that put in behind Mr. Cuomo to try and get him in instead of Mamdani, because they look at him as a big problem for the future. If he's able to win there, it gives me great hope. It gives me huge amounts of hope for the rest of America, because it means the message of supporting Israel and being a bitch to Israel and sitting there sucking you-know-what of Tel Aviv is no longer a requirement to thrive and survive. They literally threw as much money as they could. They used all their influencers, your Bill Ackermans of this world and everyone else. They tried their best, but you know what? In the end, Mamdani won. There's two things you can take away from that. One, Israel is dead. And when I say that, I mean like the Israeli influence, AIPAC, everything else that these guys are able to throw behind it, because it's become such a toxic brand. To be on the same side as the people who are involved in this genocide is just too toxic. And people are not interested in that anymore, and they have walked away from it. And this election is a huge, huge step in that direction. That's number one. Second of all, for me, when you got an affable young man and a young guy that is willing to just tell you the truth and speak the truth and just be a normal human being, instead of sitting there and being a fucking cardboard cutout that has been put in place by groups like AIPAC or the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. These guys will do 10 times better. So my ideal situation is, you need to break away from the parties and think to yourself for America, and America first, or your city first, and you will win elections in America. Anyone that is sitting there and on the shill of Israel will suffer. And no matter how much money they spend, they're not going to win. It means people like Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, they stand a really good chance of winning. Not just because they've rejected AIPAC, but because of who they are, which is very, very America first. So I think the lesson is, don't be scared of the influence of Israel and AIPAC on your lives, and think of yourselves as America first or local city first, kind of electioneering. When he turned around and said, I'm here for my New Yorkers, he won the election that day. That was it. That's enough. That was the thing that made the measure. So all I say to all the American politicians, and it's not really for me to say fuck all, because it's not my country, but because of how much hatred I hold for Israel and what it's done in the last 2 years to the Palestinian people, I can't hold my tongue, and I have to say this because I want people to have hope. I want people to have courage, and that hope and courage is Mamdani winning his seat, being called a communist, being called a Muslim, being called a terrorist, being called everything, and yet all he did was say, look here, I'm a New Yorker, I'm standing for New York. So all I say to other people is do the same. Just go out there and fight for your city, fight for your country, and don't sit there and bend the knee just because they want you to say, aren't you going to go to Israel? Aren't you going to go to Israel? No, well, fuck Israel. That's what I want to say. Thank you.